Hello and welcome to Scoping Out Tools, and today is a turning video. Now, if you know from my other videos, they are not very concise. I'm going to try and change it for this video. I'm going to try and be a little bit more concise and blather less. I know me just doing this explanation is going against that. I will, however, be doing everything as cheap as possible, and the one thing that I'm going to use as the basis of that is this dead center. Now, if you look at my pen videos, you'll see how I used the concept of this dead center to get away without using a chuck. Now, I'm going to use this concept of dead center to solve another issue that I actually have, and at a lower cost as possible. So let's see what I have planned. So this is my issue here. I've got my door handle missing because the knob wasn't that great. So I'm hoping to be able to measure 40 here and say fit the knob on later. I'm gonna make a screw chuck, and you can actually buy these, but the trouble is they have a certain cost with maybe quite a bit of postage about the price of it, and so I'm wanting to actually just make one. So first of all, I'm going to turn it like I did the pen. So that's about 17.4 mils, and it's actually one piece. I've drawn it again just to sort of show it is one piece. So I'll turn that, get the that so that it goes into the headstock, and then after it's in the headstock I will actually insert it, and then I'm going to put the drill in so that I make sure that is actually going in the center of the turning circle. Now I'm conscious that my turning circle might not necessarily match my the actual headstock center, so that's why I'm using the drill to actually drill it in, and then once I've got it drilled in, I'll put the screw through, and I'll probably put the screw through first this way before I put it in this way. Okay, so first things first, I'm going to just set my calipers so that it should be the dimension of the inside the diameter there, and that's about 17.5 mils. I'm now going to use my this piece of wood that I used to practice my curves earlier, and I'm just gonna make this thin enough so it fits inside here. So let me just put my mask on and start spinning it up. Now I'm just using the roughing gouge to bring it down to size and checking to make sure that it is down to the 17. Once I'm happy that it was the 17.5, I then used the parting tool to be able to actually bring it so that I could separate it off using the Japanese pull saw, trim it off, and then now I'm just putting it into the headstock. I'm going to push it in there. I'm just repositioning the camera, so I'm going to push it in just to make sure that it is centered inside the headstock itself. Once I was happy with that, I took a pencil and just made sure that wherever I positioned it, I could see basically from the circle where the circle indeed it was, so that I could see it's nice and center. Added in a 3mm drill into the Jacob's chuck, and that's going to be added to the tailstock. So I tapped out the live center, put in the Jacob's chuck, and then I'm just pushing it in, drilling it out, removing all any spare sawdust, moving it a bit further in, and then drilling a little bit more. And I did that until it actually drilled through right until it went to the other side of the wood itself. Okay, so I've drilled a hole through what looks to be centre. It looks a little bit off centre, but let's just see what actually happens after I put the screw through. So at first I was a little bit worried that because it wasn't perfectly in the centre, whether it was actually that I had drilled it squint, but once I actually got it through, I realised that it was actually a hole straight, so I'm glad I didn't pre-drill the centre hole. Okay, so moment of truth. If I put this here, move this up, oh, there, that looks good. The two match. So I should be able to do this. This is my screw chuck at no cost. Yay! Okay, so let's spin that, take that off. Now what I need to do is attach a piece of wood. Okay, so this is my screw chuck, and let's see with this, can I now move on to my next step of the project. So one thing first, there is only 4 to 5 protruding grips, so I think I'm going to need to increase the size. So that's step one, and then I've just got to choose what piece of wood I'm going to be actually using. So we've made the screw chuck. Now I've just got to choose what wood I want to make the handle out of. So both are actually going to be 50 mils across, and so I've obviously got a turnaround of about 40 mils for the end piece to cover it, and then do whatever I use to actually finish off the top. So I've got a choice between U, which was a £5 for the length, or I've got a piece of spotted birch, which I haven't used anything of, but that's about £6.50 for that length. So I think I might go for the spotted birch, and obviously I'll take this over to the bandsaw and cut a smaller section of it. And I am just starting the blade up using the push stick to cut off the section. So I added the blade guard to the height so that it would just fit in underneath, and I'm just keeping a constant pressure, letting the blade do its work, and just pushing it through with the push stick. You can see the actual bar at the top for changing the bearings was actually in the way of the push stick, so it just repositioned the stick until it got into the point. I was just about to take the wood, and then I realised the blade was still a little bit of movement, so I just thought, just in case, I'll just nudge everything out. No point getting too close to the blade if I don't need to. So all I need to do now is just take it over and put it on the new screw chuck. So I used the longer screw, so there was a bigger amount of teeth into the piece itself. Put it definitely in the centre, and then this is me just actually testing that it doesn't fly off. A wee thumbs up to say that I felt safe enough that I could now actually start rounding everything off. So this is me now measuring it to the 40 mil so that I know when to actually stop. So rough and gouge, just bringing it to a nice cylinder, and just checking at each point, concentrating more at the edge until I was happy with it, and then once I'm happy, I then start shaping everything else based on that. So I'm starting to curve the outer edge at the bottom. Oh, look at those streams of wood. It's so lovely when you get a piece of wood that actually cuts off like that. But I'm starting to round the front off. Again, I'm learning how to make curves, so I'm not getting it absolutely perfect to start with. And I could have done with actually getting a little bit more of a curve there. So this is me using the skewer chisel now, and I'm just trying different angles here. I'm still not entirely sure what angle works best for me, so I am just like learning it bit by bit and just cutting it off little by little, and we are getting it further and further down. Now what I'm going to need to do is, so I moved back to the rough and gouge. I moved back to the rough and gouge just to actually get that curve a little bit better. Took a little bit of sanding just to get a better idea, and this is when I started realising that I would have to actually remove the tailstock. But when I did, you can see that it's got a wobble. That wobble is making me realise that it isn't actually fully settled in, so there's not enough stability. So I just nudged it to make sure it was pushed in enough, and I started back to actually turning that area. But every time I hit it, you'll see that it just pops off a little bit, and see that's it back of wall. I pull back because I'm unsure of how to actually proceed. So you can see me actually thinking about this, trying to work out what to do. And this is when I sort of realised that I'm going to need to actually start shaving off the back part in order for it to get fitted in a little bit further. So I'm just trimming it a little bit until I could actually get it to fit. So each time I wanted to actually pop it off, I would actually just hit it a little bit at the front. That would give it a little bit of topple, and then I could easily take it off, and then there you go. See how now I've managed to actually push that into the headstock completely, and now I can actually shave off the front without worrying about stability. And I'm just getting the right position in order to actually remove the little hole, the centre hole that I'd put in initially when I actually was centering using the tailstock. So a little bit of sanding at different grits, going 60, 100, 120, 240, and now I'm just going to put a little bit of oil on, and the little bit of oil just will finish it off, and from that we're ready to go. I have done the turning of the knob, and so I had to actually thin this a little bit more, because I found that once I'd released the tension from the tailstock, that anytime it got a little catch, it gave a bit of a wobble. So this is for the holding of it, and so what I want to do now is just unscrew it, and hopefully when I do, can I just do it now by hand. This is now my knob for my bedroom cabinet. So let's see if it actually works. Okay, so it sticks out a little bit. This is what the original one was. I probably should have used that as a bit of a template, but it works. And that actually worked out quite well. So if I was to do it again, I probably would make the indent a little bit more I've now got more of a secure screw chuck, which seems to be doing well, so that should make hopefully a lot of my other projects a little bit easier to do. So yeah, well, thank you very much for watching, and if you like this video, check out my pen turning videos. If you like the format a bit better, mention in the comments, because I might try and do this shorter, 1 minute each sections better. Okay, thank you very much, and bye for now.